It's my privilege and pleasure to be here with you as we support the important work of the American Bar Association Center for Human Rights and celebrate the inaugural Eleanor Roosevelt Prize awardees. A monumental and enduring document unites us here all this evening. Tonight we're here to reflect on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as we approach its 70th anniversary. We also gather to honor two members of the legal profession whose career-long works reflect a commitment to advance the principles set forth in the Declaration. The Declaration laid out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected. Trailblazing as it was in its adoption in 1948, it continues to be a significant guiding document internationally that protects, but more importantly, empowers us all. The principles enshrined within it are as relevant today as they were at its inception. Our shared humanity is rooted in the universal values that it outlines. And whether it is one individual standing alone whose rights are abridged or many, our obligation to speak up and where appropriate take action does not vary. Whenever and wherever humanity's values are abandoned, and I dare say threatened, even if by a few, the rights of all are at risk. And so we must not wait to see the harm if the act deserves a response. Mrs. Roosevelt poignantly noted, where after all do universal rights, human rights come from? Where did they begin? In small places close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on the maps of the world. Unless these rights have meaning here, they have little meaning anywhere. Without concerted citizen action to hold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world. Tonight's honorees live out the mission of the Declaration and the ABA Center for Human Rights, close to home and afar. They have spent their careers, their service, their lives for others, advocating for the rights of women and girls, the elderly and the young, the disabled and the challenged, the meek and the angry, the persecuted and the forgotten, the silenced and the suffering. They have used their lawyering skills and voice as citizens of the world and further into the international rule of law in civil and criminal justice. They defend and advance all that we, the lawyers, the members of the American Bar Association, aim to promote and protect worldwide. And I'm grateful to be here with you to honor them this evening. On behalf of the ABA President, Bob Carlson, ABA Past President, Hillary Bass, and the 400,000 members of the American Bar Associations and its officers, know that we are most proud of the work of our honorees and the ABA Center for Human Rights and the dedicated efforts of its leaders over these last 20 years to light up the maps of the world with dignity and universal rights. Congratulations, Mr. Ferencz and Secretary Clinton, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you so very much. We're excited by your leadership and look forward to your year as president of the American Bar Association. As I mentioned earlier, the center has been fortunate in its friends and its supporters. In its first-year friend and its founder, the late Jerome J. Shestak of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, insisted that the center be established to maintain the ABA's focus on core human rights concerns. If you knew Jerry Shestak, you know that he always got his way eventually. He just wouldn't quit. More recently, the center's capacity to promote and protect human rights worldwide has been increased dramatically by both current and new partnerships. And we invite additional new partnerships. It began in earnest about 7 years ago with our friend and colleague Lou Pritchard, who could not be here tonight, but is, as always, here with us in spirit. Lou had a conversation with Mike Posner, who was then the Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor under Secretary Clinton. Mike presented an idea for a program to support persecuted human rights defenders and thought that the ABA might be a good fit for that program. Lou then convinced Mike that the new Center for Human Rights would be a perfect fit, and he was right. Our phenomenal staff director, Michael Pates, over there, recruited Brittany Benowitz, who is here in the room, to set up the program, which is called Justice Defenders. Its immediate and sustained effectiveness has brought tremendous growth in both funding and staff, and this year it will receive a further 50% increase in funding with additional staff. Will Mike Posner, Mike Pates, and the Justice Defenders team please stand and receive our applause? Thank you, Mike Posner. Shortly after Justice Defenders was founded, its junior staff attorney, Kip Hale, recognized an opportunity to implement longstanding but dormant ABA policy supporting the International Criminal Court. He and Mike Greco, Mike stand again, he and Mike Greco joined forces, and Mike Greco, who was CHR chair, then took the idea to ICC officers in New York, who urged them to proceed with the project. Thanks to seed funding from the Planet Foundation, led by Ben Ferenz and his son, Don, the center's wide-ranging and multifaceted ICC project was born, which Mike Greco continues to chair and which is about to grow in partnership with the Criminal Justice Section. Thank you, Mike, for your ongoing leadership, and thank you, Lucien Dervan, for facilitating this exciting and, we hope, enduring partnership. As I said, there are many, many initiatives that the ABA Center for Human Rights has undertaken. It is small but mighty. Most recently this year, the center has been honored to develop new relationships with, and I won't go through all of them, but we'll name a few. The Carnegie Foundation of New York, that relationship exists to study and make recommendations regarding legal frameworks governing the use of proxy fighters and examining their impact on extending conflicts and increasing atrocity crimes prevention. Meanwhile, an anonymous individual has generously donated a six-figure gift to support the center's work, which we will use to further develop our health and human rights project to expand and strengthen reliable access to high-quality legal services. And we have just executed a multi-year, seven-figure grant agreement with the Clooney Foundation for Justice, founded by George and Amal Clooney and led by Ambassador David Pressman and Stephen Townley, who are Pressman and Townley are with us tonight. I don't want to get you excited and cause you to think that George and Amal Clooney are here. They are not. They too are here in spirit, okay? This new partnership will strengthen methods and protections for monitoring trial fairness under international standards, with a view to strengthening judicial systems worldwide. David and Stephen, would you please stand and receive our applause? And finally, we are pleased to work with the Abramson Family Foundation on our Lawyers Without Rights project, which includes a generous grant to translate from German to English the book by the same name. And we are pleased to share this first with each of you tonight. The book chronicles the persecution of lawyers in the early days of the Third Reich. It includes a powerful foreword by Ben Ferenz. Please be sure to pick up your free copy before departing tonight. Our thanks to Bill Choi, who has he has been an indefatigable ambassador and guide for this project. He and the ABA staff, with their dedicated work on this important project, has made this gift possible tonight. And Bill, if you would stand so that we may acknowledge and thank you. And so this evening presents yet another exciting development for the Center. Its inaugural Eleanor Roosevelt Prize for Human Rights Advancement to recognize persons and organizations having a global impact in advancing the foundational legal principles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which Eleanor Roosevelt championed. We thank all of you for being here, for supporting the Center, and we thank President Robb and Roosevelt House for hosting us. And as you enjoy tonight's dinner, I just want you to reflect on the place of human rights in our lives. And I want you to remember and think that, it's not just things that are occurring around the world, but we have to have a commitment to human rights, even in our own country. At the time, Eleanor Roosevelt was doing this important work, she never forgot that we in the United States had room to work to achieve the goal of human rights and recognizing and acknowledging the personhood and humanity of all people. It's so exciting to be in this place, in this space, at this time, remembering the life and the life works of a remarkable, remarkable woman and her place in world history. Enjoy your dinner, and very shortly we will begin the award ceremony, but thank you again.